Happy New Year's, everybody. Cheers. Give you all a second to get in here. Let me know if you can hear audio, both me speaking out of both speakers, and this looping riff which I made. Yeah, almost New Year's. New Year's somewhere, probably. All right, we'll bring that down. Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Palmisano here, and happy New Year's Eve here from northern Baltimore County, Maryland. I hope you're all doing really well out there. I wanted to come on here today and just open it up. It's been another wild year. It's been a wild holiday for me, and I wanted to catch up with all of you and just open this forum up to anything you'd like to talk about, anything like you'd like to discuss, New Year's resolutions, problems in the past, things you'd like to work on, issues with me and Guitargate, any issues you might be having with your guitar, anything at all. Just know that I sincerely appreciate you. And if you didn't know, tomorrow will mark 10 straight years, my 10th year of being an online educator. Back in 2013, on New Year's Day, I made the decision and started an LLC and began the process. So tomorrow it will be my 10th year, and I'm forever grateful. I know some of you watching have been with me since the very beginning and have watched the whole thing and been with me every step of the way. Some of you are brand new, and perhaps this is even your first live stream and being a part of the community. I appreciate each and every one of you equally, and just know that you mean the whole world to me. This completely changed my life, and you've really given me the strength and the power to pursue my passion, which has eluded me for so long. And so, cheers to you, cheers to us. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. I hope you and your family stay safe, have a good time. Let's see who's in the chat here. Fishing Idaho on the Harley. How are you, my friend? Thanks to you and all the mods that make this a safe, amazing place, both here and on the website. Yes, 10 years, man. It's crazy. Bryce, hope you're doing well out there. David Gonzalez, my brother. This is my actual brother on here. You mean the world to me too, brother. You know that. I love you. I miss you. I know you're doing something fun for New Year's. There's a 100% chance you're doing something fun, and I wish I was doing it with you. I hope to see you in Florida real soon. Lethea, welcome, or Lethea, however I say your name. David, thank you so much. Anthony, really appreciate you. Lonnie, you're one of the only guys I take time to watch. Man, totally appreciate it. Dave, good to see you. Debbie, Jason, jamming with Jesse. Waited a whole life for a course like yours. Man, I appreciate it. I'm waiting for my disability check to come in so I can make a new account. Don't wait, just email me. Okay, I'm going to address the elephant in the room real quick. I tell everybody to email me, right? And if you've been around this channel for any length of time, you know that I pride myself in responding to damn near every single message I get. I very much view what I do, like I do it kind of the old school way. I very much think of it as how bands, when they started out super small, had like 10 or 15 people that would come to all their shows, like their close family, right? And then slowly you'd grab one person or two people and three persons and 10 people and all the meet and greets and all the signed stuff and all the beers after the show. You build those relationships. And then it builds to you're filling 100-seaters and then 250-seaters and then 500-seaters and all the things that you can do to build those grassroots relationships That's what those bands and those artists that did. I view what I do online exactly the same, and many of my peers do not do it that way and don't view, they think I'm nuts for doing it, but I do try to respond to everyone. And so the elephant in the room is clearly now, 10 years in, this community is over 435, I think, thousand people strong. And that's just on YouTube. I don't want to count everything else. So I get a tremendous amount of emails and messages, and the vast majority of my day, to my detriment of being creative, goes to responding to all those. But that's where the magic is. So many of my favorite videos, like when the trucker sent me a song, and so many others that I can't remember the guy's name, where we read his grandfather's World War II letter to his grandmother. Like, so many of my favorite moments in this 10-year journey come from staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning opening emails and hearing how much something may have meant to you. And so just know, if I say send me an email, but know that it might take me a couple weeks to get back to you, but I, for the most part, will always get back to you. So that's the elephant in the room, especially on the holidays. Like, my inbox from December is an absolute dumpster fire. So that's that. Brian Starr, what's a highlight for you this year? There are many highlights for me this year. Let's see. I would have to say that the biggest highlight for me professionally was meeting Keith Urban and him taking the time to basically clear out an entire half an hour before showtime, take me on the stage, show me his guitars, and really connect as somebody that really treated me as an equal. You know, one of my idols and icons and one of the biggest stars in the world, really took the time to say, you're noticed and appreciated, and what you do is good that you're putting out there. And that was just cooler than shit. I still am not, I don't know, I've just never heard of anything like that happening. And Keith, if you ever see this, like, you know I love you, man. I feel like we're going to be friends. But that was the biggest professional achievement. There are many personal and family ones that I don't know if I'll share there, but professionally, that was the biggest one. Just knowing that you make digital stuff and that affects people in real life, from somebody who has never had the spotlight shown on them, who writes you, to someone has all of the spotlights on them, who writes you, and everything in between, is just an incredible thing. I just can't believe all these things are possible. And after 10 years, I do really feel like it's the very beginning. Yeah, he's like the nicest person I've ever met, literally. Matt Castleman, my goal for 2023, and it's been my goal every year since I started playing guitar, is to finally build up the confidence to write something and make something that only I can make and be proud of it and share it. Like this little riff, I've been working on this little riff. I played my whole life in cover bands, teaching, being a hired gun, my whole life. And I know it's not entirely true. I'm not being fair to myself and the work that I've put in. But I'm largely a professional conduit, if you will, a translator, or someone who is adding value or sharing to something that I'm building on something that someone else began, if you will. And I'll be 40 in 2023. I've been playing guitar since I was, this age. I don't know if you can see that. So young that I don't even remember not playing. And I've never written anything. I've never written a song. I've never shared something. It is my biggest fear. It is the thing that I don't know I don't know. People struggle with different things, and this is mine. And so that's what 2023 is for me. Yes, Matt, with lyrics as well. Let's see. Yeah, fishing. I know, man. I know. But, listen. American Glutton, 40 sucks. But you know what, though? I don't think so. I don't think it has to. And I'll tell you why. I was talking to my other friend that turned 40 this past year. And I thought, listen, this isn't the same for everyone. But for those of us that have been fortunate enough to get involved with marrying the right person, been successful because we worked hard and we earned wherever we've gotten in the world. Your 40s are kind of like this time where you're not young, but you're not old. You're relatively healthy. You have a young family, so you're super busy, but it's mostly good things. You can afford to, go out to dinner or take your family to go do something, or do something special for your spouse. Like you're not. It hasn't crossed over into that next phase. Like this is. I feel like this is like the bullseye, of like everything you've worked for in your 20s and 30s. Hopefully you realize and slow down enough to enjoy in your 40s and 50s before you actually start, and everybody in this same pocket gets older in their 60s and 70s, and then it's the other side, right? I feel like we're like in the bullseye. I don't know. 40 is when it's time to put it into overdrive. Yeah. I mean, it's good. Yeah, 40 is near peak enjoyment. Peak enjoyment is the last kid graduates college. Well, I have a 2-year-old, so that's gonna be a thing. And Dave, that is right. Every day is day one. You're really only as old or young or happy or sad or whatever as you feel. So, Anthony, how you doing, brother? As long as you've got ibuprofen. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so I'd like to hear some of your New Year's resolutions, things that you want to work on, any questions that you might have. Hot wax, let's see what you got here. This January, I'm finally forming my own band. From joining multiple bands, I found the 3 musicians I want to start a band with. Any tips to make the start of a band as smooth as possible? Well, here's the thing, man. I just kind of addressed this. If you've joined, I don't know what type of bands that you've joined, but I've never been in an original band. I'm assuming you're talking about an original band. So I would have lots of advice if it was for like a cover band or a working band. But if it's for an original band, I mean, you're really just going to have to figure out who's the lead songwriter, or if you're all going to have to do it equally. Do you lock yourselves in the room? Do you come out with something? Does one person really just, do the lyrics after the music is done? All of the above work for all types of artists. It's really, what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Play towards the strengths and away from the weaknesses, and communicate about that. Okay. Keep the drummer sober. That's also good advice, Vandy. That's also good advice. Panda, how was the Oz Noy concert? So Oz Noy was great. He's playing with Jimmy Chamberlin and Dennis Chambers. So the pocket was massive, like in another orbit. And Oz has so many. It's a 3-piece instrumental. And they're recording 4 live shows for a live album, and they're taking the best cuts of each, and they're going to splice them all together. And it's all instrumental. There's no vocals. So Oz, is the one making all the different textures, if you will. So Dennis and Jimmy come up and down dynamically, and they do everything that they do, but there's one drum sound, timbre, and there's one bass sound, timbre, And Oz has all the options. He's got organ sounds. He's got Octavia sounds. He's got futuristic, like we're on Mars sounds. He's got all the different stuff. And so I saw the show, and then I came yesterday, and we actually did an interview, which is going to be up on the channel, where he talks about all his different sounds, talks about the record, talks about a couple playthroughs of how he thinks about recording stuff. And Oz is just one of those guys where you can tell it's just everything in his brain is so rapid fire that it's kind of that anything could happen at any time, right? I really enjoyed talking to him, and I hope that you guys enjoy that interview when it comes out. Paul, thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate the donation, brother. It says, what amp do you use when you're doing your videos? It has a unique tone, especially when you do double stops. Use an amp or straight to the computer. All right, Paul, you're not going to like the answer to this question. And those of you out there are going to laugh. I plug straight into the computer, straight into my DAW, right? And just use a basic preset. If you watch my videos at all, you know that of the past 500 videos, about all of them have had the same clean sound. And I do that because when you make anything, you have to choose your focus. Some people really try to get every sound from every thing they want to talk about perfectly. Like Rhett Shaw does a great job, okay? Some people spend their time and energy really, really trying to become tremendous videographers and get just the most gorgeous, beautiful shots. Paul David's a perfect example. Some people are just really tremendous editors, and they have all these different angles and a million cuts, and it keeps your attention, and it's totally inspiring. Like Tyler Larson is a perfect example of that. I have chosen, and this is a moving target, but I choose every day to try to remove all of those from my thought path and try to become the best one-take listener, improviser, and communicator in real time. And that's for a few reasons. One, it's my personality type. I don't edit anything in my life. I try to remove anything that is too complicated, anything that makes me not be able to make a decision, anything I don't understand. I have a very simple guitar setup. I don't edit my emails. I basically have an unedited life. And when I played music, the solo I took was the solo you got. I've never fixed a note in my life. I've never gone back and added compression. I don't do anything like that because my goal is to be the best me that I can be raw, when I'm 70. Like that's kind of the personal journey I'm on, to refine me in my raw form as much as I can. And that also comes with my teaching. And, can I watch a video and can I keep my internal clock? Can I think about my internal dialogue and think about what a student might be assuming or not assuming in real time? Remember to breathe. Remember to choose not to pick everything to point out. To basically just be the very best. I'm a natural improviser in life and in music, and just be the best at that as I can be. And so I just go all in on who I am, on my strengths. That's what I do. So I plug the guitar straight into the computer, and I don't even think about it. And when I edit my videos, I trim the beginning and I trim the end. I highlight everything so they're synchronized, and I hit upload no matter what. And that might change in the future. Maybe I'll grow out of that, but that's true. It's true. Hot Wax. I'm glad that makes sense, man. But that really is the case. Like you're going with any type of band, sports team, or professional group, you're going to have people who are really good at some things and really good at other things. And usually there has to be a leader too. And the leader has to force the uncomfortable communication of, Rick, we're not doing that song because you can't do a Texas shuffle at 120 BPMs. And you know this, right? No, you're not going to be in charge of customer service because you know what? You're bad with people. That is not who you are, right? Empathy. When I think of empathy, I don't think of you, right? And you don't have to be salty like that, but all those things are true, and it's great. So, one of the things that bands make a mistake about all the time is they have this is what I think the perfect presentation is, and then we try to work towards this presentation, as opposed to, this is the best thing we can all do together. And then let's try to build that thing. It's like I was just talking to Oz about this in the interview. It's like, how sometimes sculptors will say that the sculpture's already in the stone or the ice. I'm just removing everything around it. So the goal isn't like that you see this perfect thing and then or you hear it in your brain and you create it. It's that you're chipping away at it until the thing that was locked inside escapes. And as a group, you do that together. Yeah, it's totally true. Yeah, it is bored and feeling unloved. Brad, I always hum the melody that I want to play. Audiation is an absolute fundamental for anybody that wants to be a really strong musician. It's not just, by the way, not just musicians that play notes. Some of the best drummers I've ever played with sing the song the whole time while they're playing drums. They don't have the microphone, but they're singing the whole time. There's something about not just the pitch, but the timing. So you'll like this little key takeaway. So I used to hate starting songs in a cover band because I could never remember the tempo. I could never say, I'd never done enough metronome work in the sense that I'd be looking at a chart and be like, oh yeah, that's 115, and I can hear that. Right? It would never be. It would, and you try to remember the riff, but especially when you're in a cover band and you're playing songs you didn't write in a bunch of different genres, and some you feel comfortable with and some you don't, the main trick to do is sing the hook of the song. There's something about vocal hooks and vocal melodies that we tend to remember them in time. If you're sitting here thinking right now, you can think Shook Me All Night Long, like AC/DC. And you just know it. And you can think, don't stop. You just, these iconic vocal melodies, even if we don't know the pitch, even non-musicians, we tend to remember them in tempo within a click or two. So it's, anyway. So yes, I always hum the melody, and when I find myself not humming the melody, if I'm taking the leads, one of the biggest things I do is I'll take my hands off and try to hear it and then start playing again and not just muscle through. Because you'll forget and you'll stop and you'll just be like, oh yeah, I'm lost in guitar land again. Connor, the song that got me jockled on vocal melodies is the piano ending for Layla. Yes, that's a great one. All right, so what else is everybody working on? Oh, let me give you an update while people this is an open session here, by the way, while people get some questions in there. So the teaching course, If for those of you that are unaware, I made a course for those of you that want to be online teachers in whatever discipline you choose. Again, this is my 10th year, so I mean, YouTube only started 4 years, 6 years before that, and you have to remember in 2013 when I started, Facebook wasn't an ad platform. Instagram was like brand new. There was no TikTok. Influencer wasn't a word. YouTube, I don't even think had ads yet, or maybe it was about to. Totally different than it is now. Like this is the perfect time to start, and it'll be so much easier for anybody else than it was for me. People weren't watching HD on their phone. They sure as shit weren't taking it on their phone and uploading it and editing. It was just a totally different world. There weren't third-party platforms to host your stuff. You had to make custom sites. All of it is different. If Anthony's still out there, Anthony, tell him how it is. Anyway, that is done, and that is going to be up. I'm shooting for this week. Basically, I had some promo videos to do and some last-minute touch-ups, and I was sick for most of December, and I really didn't want to put all my promotional stuff up there with me, hacking all over the place, and I wanted it to be right. So I'm going to record those this week, and then emails and everything will go out. So if that interests you, you'll get an email, you'll get served an ad or something. It'll, the universe will make it known. And let's see, what else do I have on here? That's pretty much it. I know I'm forgetting something. I just wanted to say thank you, man. Do Guitargate folks get access to that, or is it extra? No, that is separate. And I'll tell you why it's separate. Because it's a completely different audience, and because most of my audience that joins on Guitargate are guitar players, all of them for the most part. There are some people that join just to support, which blows me away, and I hope that they give those subscriptions to friends and family that play guitar. But the audience is completely different. Like, there may be a small group of the current audience that is interested in that, but for the most part, I'm going to have to cultivate a new audience for that course, and so that makes sense to have it on a separate platform, because you got to track everything, and you got to retarget people, and you got to have separate email lists, and it's a whole thing. All the things that are in the course I go over. But that's why. Paul, thank you so much for the donation. Have I heard of the most underrated guitarist of the 90s, Jennifer Turner? No, I haven't. She recorded the Tiger Lily album from Natalie Merchant. Listen to Carnival when you get a chance. Would love to see a video. All right. I'm not going to do any reactions today, but I'll write this down because I'm curious. Okay. All right. Chippy D. Yes. You're welcome. I'm so happy that Gavin got the PRS. If for those of you out there that don't know, we give away guitars periodically throughout the year. And I don't do a good enough job of sharing the stories of the people that receive the guitars, or really making it this loud, obvious part of this community. But it's something that I really care about, and I always want these guitars to go to people who will love and cherish them and make a really solid dent in their life. And I thought it was so cool that Chippy, that you gave it to Gavin, and I was allowed to be a part of that, and that he's loving the process. So cool. So just thanks again for being a part of the community and allowing me to be a part of his life like that. Okay. Ish, how about the barn? All right, here we go. This is the hard question here. So, watch me lean back and drink a beer. Okay. Here's the issue with the barn. Okay. when I started working out of the barn you've seen videos in, I was thrilled. I loved it. I loved the sound. I loved the feel. I live on a farm. I grew up right next to that farm. Like I was like, this is awesome. But it didn't have heat. It didn't have internet, and a family friend owned it. Long story short, she's a little older and didn't quite understand what I wanted to do with it. And when I had the first concert there, I sent her a video, and she was just like, oh, now I get it. If I give you this barn, it's never going to look the same again. And she's just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And so I was pretty upset, not at her, but just like that my plan didn't work out. So then I got a spot to build my own barn. And this was in summer of 21, I think. Yeah, summer of 21. So I went to her builder. It was an Amish barn. I wanted the exact same thing. The dimensions were right. The vibe was right. It felt right. And that process took from August until maybe June of 2022 or July, somewhere in summer, to when we even got to getting under contract to build this thing. And that's for a whole host of reasons. The largest of which is, for anybody out there that has dealt with the Amish, all of the timber, if you want the big timber wood, it all comes, it doesn't matter what builder you choose, it doesn't matter what contractor, what designer, or whatever. They all have an insular network of where they get all the timber, and it all gets cut in my area in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, from one company. And then that company will send it to whomever. And there is such an incredible backlog, again, from COVID and before that, and demand for these timbers and these style barns, that they told me it was going to be 6 months. So I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll build the barn in June or whatever. Now, then inflation happened. The cost of goods went crazy. The cost to borrow money went crazy. No one could get anything. We all lived through this. Like, it doesn't matter whether it was a barn or a car or whatever it was. Like, you couldn't get anything. And when you build a barn, you don't just need the wood. You need the windows. You need the doors. You need electric. You gotta, you need the gravel. You need all the things. Eventually, it got to a point in the summertime where we were ready to go under contract. And they came to me, and like the initial estimate that we got in August had essentially doubled. I was going to do a home equity loan probably, and the cost to borrow money had essentially doubled. And the time frame had also more than doubled. And they said that it's now very much likely going to be a late 2023 conversation. And they wanted me to sign an open-ended contract, meaning I had to give them a huge non-refundable deposit. And that would mean that whenever they got to me, which they couldn't tell me when, I had to agree to pay whatever it cost whenever it was my turn. And I walked away from it because that's ridiculous. And so I just said that the universe is telling me to take a breath, and I'm taking a breath, and it looks like things are starting to calm down and slow down, but I wasn't going to bankrupt my family to follow this thing off a cliff. I figured I would just breathe for a minute, because even if I decided to sign on to something like that, I still wouldn't have it until late 2023. So there's no harm in being conservative and prudent. And that's the story of the barn. So I'm working on it. This is a project of my lifetime, not of a single year. There you go. Jeff, that's the Amish way. Dude, it's crazy, man. So Jay, So a shed. So you can buy the prefab sheds, and you can do that. And I don't need to build one as big as I have, or had. But I just want to do something right, and I want to work in there for the next like 30 years. Like I want to like cultivate my space, you know, in my little pocket of the world, and use it to make stuff. I don't know. I'm being whatever. It's hard. So yeah. Well, they do that. They build it, and then they come assemble it. Ian, thank you so much for the donations. And thanks for being my inspiration to take the guitar seriously. You renewed my interest. 2023 is to learn some Bella on banjo. Love it. Man, I appreciate you too. I've said it before. It's worth saying again because many of you probably haven't heard it. But when I started down this journey, I did it to support my family in a way that playing gigs and being a private instructor and my wife being a special educator, we knew that there was no growth ahead of us, likely. And so I chose to be a true believer in the internet and become a teacher instead of looking for bigger and bigger stages 10 years ago. And it worked out. I was right. And I'm grateful. It was very hard for a great long time. But now what's kind of happened is people like you, Ian, say that I'm a part of your inspiration for you reaching your goals. And now what's really happened now is that the community has become so large that it's really you guys pushing and inspiring me to think about my goals again and think about the music that I can make and start taking the things that I haven't done for so long because I prioritized work to heart and really be creative again. And so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, it goes both ways. Every single one of you that posts something on GuitarGate or leaves a comment on YouTube or sends me a DM, it makes me feel like there's wind at the back. And that we're all in this together and doing it for the right reason. And so just know that it's always both, my friends. Okay. What else we got here? Let's see. Colin, been following for a while. It lifted me up when discussing the depth of a song. I wish I was a better guitar player. His music has always spoken to me. Keep it up, brother. Colin, baby steps, man. Baby steps. It's a journey of a lifetime. Just, let the music speak to you and try to put words to stuff that resonates with you. That's the biggest thing. Whether it's a lyric or whether it's an arrangement of a song or whether it's one note over one chord, try to put words to why you like something because that makes it real and it makes you be able to use it somewhere else. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Cheating is competing. That's a great name. I like it. By the way, who else is having a New Year's Eve beverage? What are you guys doing for New Year's? Anybody going to a New Year's show? I had a bunch of cousins and friends up at Fish at Madison Square Gardens. Who's going to... Let's talk about this. Give me your 2023 shows or tours you're excited to go to. I can tell you for me, sorry, cheating is competing. I never addressed your thing. Dad played for years. Now I'm getting older. I wish I picked it up when he wanted me to. Just do it, man. Go get a cheap one. I tell everybody, don't sleep on used gears. If your budget's $300, go find something that was $700 new 10 years ago. That guitar is great. Great. Okay? So I am so excited for so many things coming up. I was really hopeful to be able to get Playing in the Sand tickets to try to go catch Dead and Company, especially because they're last year and because Goose is joining them. But it's sold out. There's a part of me that wants to just fly down there and get a room at the hotel and see if I can get into the shows. I mean, pretty expensive to risk that, but that's kind of my personality. I'm known to do crazy things like that. But I don't know if that's good. That's doubtful. Unless one of you out there has a hookup and you think you can get me a wristband or can hook me up with someone at CID. That be a next level. So yeah, so what are you guys looking for? We're gonna see Polyphia. I would love to see Polyphia. Mugby. I would love to come to Peach, Scranton. 100%. Pantera in Texas is happening. Have you guys seen the ticket prices though for Metallica and everything? It is otherworldly. I don't even know how it's possible. Thomas, dude, thank you for the 20. Really appreciate you. Sam, yes, met you at the bar before Tedeschi Trucks at Beacon. Can't wait for their run this year. I remember you, Sam. We were at that little sidebar. Do you know that the exact same bar I met you in? Actually, no, I think you were there after the show. Let me know in the comments. It's all blurry, as you know. But we it was so cool because Derek and Susan and the whole band and crew, this was a Monday night, didn't have to play again until Friday. So bands, especially really professional bands that have been doing it a long time, they don't really party if they have a show the next night. I mean, the rarest, in these days and age, it's just kind of not the thing. But if you got 4 days off and you don't have your kids and you're in a hotel in New York, I mean, everybody was full send going for it. And we all hung out till like 4 o'clock in the morning till the bar closed. And it was nothing short of tremendous. Simply amazing to see people that I look up to that much be that cool and welcoming in their inner circle. And yeah, so Sam, I mean, dude, that was awesome. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Vandy in the mod chat just told me, he didn't give me somebody's name, but, CP. CP, hope you're still out there. I don't know when this came through. Looks like a while ago. Said, can someone else here explain what Mike means when he says guitar should play more to the melody as opposed to guitar parts? So it's real simple. Guitarists have like a syndrome where we just learn the guitar part. We don't learn the melody of anything. And that is something that I'm like on a whatever. I'm on a thing to change that because other instruments don't do that. When you're a horn player, or basically anything else, even bass to a large degree, they learn the melody parts to the songs that they learn. Especially, your horn players, your violins, your typical lead instruments, they start with the melody. And a lot of these instruments, again, especially horn players, they can't play chords, right? So it's melody, and then everything is beyond that. With guitar players, we're harmony. What are the chords? What's the riff? And then when it gets time to solo, we're like, well, I don't know what to solo over it. And it's like, well, the answer to your question is always in the melody. The reason the melody works, especially on big songs, is because it connects the chords. It connects the riff. The melody is the answer. And so getting in the habit of learning the vocal melody, right? The keyboard melody, whatever the hook, whatever is getting hooked in people's heads to make the rhythm parts work, learn it always because the answer to your question is always there. It's always there. Okay. Crusade. Yes, Crusade. Yeah. Paul, that is exactly right. That is the singular key takeaway of getting into the Dead. Jerry's playing, and all of the legion of players that came after him is it's not it's just a different world than I ever came from. But the commitment to the melody, that was the groundbreaking thing for me. I have spent the first part of my life exclusively on rhythm, trying to be a drummer that plays guitar, as tight, as rhythmic, as dynamic, as sensitive or violent as possible. Notes be damned. Second major part of my musical career was when I went to school at GIT, and then I graduated and had to work in bands to pay bills for that next decade or so. And in that world, harmony became everything. Really understanding progressions, how chords function works, how hit songs are formulated and put together, learning triads everywhere, understanding how one note moves the function of a chord, all those different things. This phase of my professional life, of my trying to grow as a player, was 100% completely inspired by Finding the Dead and getting into that style of music, and that's the melody. Melody, 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 melody. And for anybody out there, love him or hate him, but I'm assuming you mostly love him, just listen to John Mayer's blues playing when he's doing solo stuff, and listen to John Mayer stuff when he plays with the Dead. One is a completely key-centered, rhythm, dynamic-based blues commitment and assault. And the other one is an absolute fearless commitment to hunting down the melody, regardless of where the time goes. Those are totally different things. They're totally different disciplines. And that came to me. That's what that music did more than anything. Okay. The Clapton out. Melody's everything. Melody is literally the stuff that non-musicians sing in the car on their way home. And the greatest makers of music make stuff that transcend, that everybody loves. And those are melodies first. And guitar players just have this thing where we just start learning riffs and chords. We don't start in melody land like vocalists do, like horn players. It's who we are. We're rough. We're rough. Okay. Patrick, thanks for the donation, man. I will write it down. I'm not doing reactions today, because I just want to hear from you guys. But thank you so much. Lonnie, thanks for tuning in. All right, we'll do a couple more minutes here. Who else you guys want to see? What else you got for me? I love you guys. Cheers. Happy New Year's Eve. Alex, that's exactly the thing. Piano players, horn players, they don't have the luxury, and not even limited to that, they don't have the luxury of not knowing what note they're playing, because you can see it. I'm holding down two valves, right? It's like it's not a thing. But guitar players can play their whole career and just learn shapes and forms and not know what anything is called. And there's also a beauty in that too, because that's how so much was created that wouldn't be created if you came from this really heavy place of thought and understanding. Like that there are so many of the raw things that we love, like from the grunge era, and like all these like I think of Kurt Cobain all the time. Like so many of these songs are just like power chords that are shifting minor thirds that in no way would you come up with that on paper. Would you come up with it? I mean, you have to just be moving shapes and seeing what sounds good and trying to find a vocal melody that connects them. And so there's a beauty in that too. But it's also it's the joke of every serious working band. Like, the guitar player doesn't know. Like, yeah, the guitar player doesn't know. Okay, Pete Brown, Happy New Year. Let's see, Carlos DeSantos, how you doing? Happy New Year. Lee Rittenauer, yeah. AB, Paramore is a big tour this year. Paramore is one of those bands that style is some that I should showcase and talk about more, because that's one of those bands that really plays to their strengths, and has really great arrangements, super hooky, and just all the parts fit perfectly. We always covered Ain't It Fun, and what's the other one? I can't remember when I played in bands, and I always loved when those tracks got called, because they were such crowd killers, and just really, really well arranged songs. Like 4 or 5 very simple pieces that are really complementary, and you could be heavy with them. That is a very good band. I have a lot of respect for them. Let's see. Many Vibes, legit question. Is it a sin to toss the metronome for a backing track instead? No, of course not. Here's the thing. How do I say this? They're both equal. But what I think people try to do that stumbles them, has them stumble a lot, is they try to do the same thing with both. So it's like, I'm working on, like, you're not going to work on your exercises with the backing track, and you're not going to work on playing over changes in time to a metronome. So the two things are equal. The point is to play in time. What I love about the metronome in particular, though, which you don't get with a so-called backing track, is I forget who showed this to me. It was a drummer when I was in GIT, and I've made a video on it, and I should mention it more and point it out. But it's called, like, Where is the Click in Your Lick? I think I made a video. It's entitled something like that. The point of it is that if you're playing with a click, the classic thing to do is work up something, increase it, work up something, increase it. But when you're working on groove with people, okay, it's not static like that. And people that play with a click on stage get such a bad rep, because one of the greatest things that you can do to liberate your playing is to give yourself something that doesn't move and then move all around it. So in other words, imagine you're playing drums and you have this one thing that never moves, like your hi-hat or a cowbell or something. And you can play all around it. You can slow it down, you can speed it up and catch it, and you can, like, screw with that immovable thing. That's how people play to a click live or in the studio really, really well. They don't perseverate on laser focusing on this hits, when this hits, when this hits, when this hits. They make the click a part of the groove. They make the click a silent part of the lick. That is the secret to really developing groove, because when you get comfortable at playing ahead or behind something and catching up to it, you'll be so much better at doing it when it's a human doing it. So the metronome gets a lot of flack, but people also forget to mention that it doesn't have to be static. Okay. Nathan, tips. Thanks for the donation, Nathan. Tips on picking up electric. I feel out of control on the instrument after playing acoustic for so long. Well, you're probably playing distorted with lots of delay or reverb, and or the strings just feel really noodly and thin and small. My advice would be to give yourself a clean tone with, I mean, it can be pushed a little bit, but essentially a clean tone and a tiny bit of reverb, if anything. It's very hard to start completely dry. All the fun will be sucked out of it. Give yourself a little reverb, but not swimming in it. And try to remember that you're used to squeezing really, really hard, and you don't have to on the electric. And so try to give yourself time where you pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, to let your body kind of relax and get used to it. It's a different type of muscle memory. Like people that are really, really sharp on acoustic, they get on electric and they don't sound nearly as tight. Strings are looser, action's different. They're not used to having all the different types of like sonic differences in their dynamics and everything. And the opposite's also true. Like you shred on electric and you got it and you're super clean and you're super tight. And you get on electric or on acoustic and you're not used to the strings being high. I mean, you can still play, it's still fine, but it's very clear that like you're going to have to pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down a bunch to get to a similar comfort level. So, yeah, many vibes. Reverb is everything. Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. How to really use a metronome. Yeah, search that up. I'm telling you, it's a concept which I don't know if I've heard anybody tell me since then. But ever since I saw this drummer, is a drum teacher at GIT, take that question. It's like, how do you play with soul with the click? He's like, oh man, you just got to fit the click in your lick. Don't be like, okay, this is my groove and this is my click, and I play the hi-hat and everything every time it clicks. He goes, no, the click is just something you have in your mix. And as long as you're constantly moving forward and coming back to the click, the band will do that with you and it'll feel like a flow. But everybody's got to, it's something you practice. But I'm telling you, that's a big deal right there. That's a big thing that no one talks about. Okay, I'll do one more question or so. First in space, hello there, hello. Yeah, well, Frank, that's the beauty of the amps. You're not going to play something clean that you would play dirty. You're not going to play something dirty that you would play clean. Favorite prog bands, man. King Crimson, Camel is my jam for sure. Little Snow Goose action. I mean, everybody likes ELO. Everybody likes Rush. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. There's so many, but if we're going deep, heavy prog, like Camel's my band. If I had 3 musicians to take golfing, who would you pick? So I don't golf, so I think people that would golf would know which musicians golf. That's a good question, man. Because really what you're talking about is people that you'd be hanging out for 4 hours, kind of undivided, with some other thing that sort of keeps your attention, and maybe you're serious and maybe you're not, but for the most part, you're shooting the shit and drinking beers. Eddie Van Halen would absolutely be one. I feel like I would have to throw Alice Cooper in there just because I know he plays golf, and like it would be fun to have. It would be fun to have someone else like that in that mix. I don't know. I have to think about who would really spice it up with the two of them. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about that. That's a good question. Okay, yeah, dinner. Same thing then. Yeah, dinner. Um, uh, I don't know. It'd be a songwriter. It'd be a non-guitar player. I'd have to think about who I'd really. I don't know, man. It would be like a James Taylor or like a Leonard Cohen or somebody who like a John Prine. Like I would want like a serious guitar player that is just like whatever, and then I'd want like someone like Alice would be great, who's just or like an Ozzy, someone who like is the show and is like this larger than life creature that you're not even sure that they're an actual person. And then I would love just an absolute songwriter, like someone who their craft is in the words, and they work on it forever, and they're just storytellers of the truest sense. It'd be some combo like that. Yeah, Vince Gill, great one. Yeah, Glenn Frey, absolutely. All right, my friends. I think I'm gonna call it there. It's been an hour. Yeah, the next one would have to be a drummer. You're right, Jonathan. Yes, the next one would have to be a drummer. Neil might be it, man. Oh God, I don't even know who the drummer would be if I had any drummer in history, or alive today. That is such a hard one. It could very easily be Neil Peart. It could very easily be Bill Ward. Oh, this is going to crush my soul. It could very easily be Danny Carey. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Or Phil Collins or Dave or Carter B. I mean, there's so many. I feel like it would be Bill Ward, man. I feel like it would be Bill Ward. I really gravitate towards drummers that really move their time around, and really move as a band. There's just something about Bill that, doing it kind of first, like it's Bonham-esque, but it's like even. It's much more wider of tempo changes than Bottom. Like it's really an orchestration. Anyhow, that's it, my friends. I love you all. And just again, I'll be sending emails. I'll be sending everything, this coming week. Enjoy New Year's Eve tonight. Kiss your loved ones. Enjoy your family. Keep that guitar in your hands. And thank you so much. I just can't believe it. It'll be 10 years tomorrow since I started this online journey. And my whole life has changed for the better in ways that I could never have imagined. And it's because of each and every one of you. So just know that on the other side of every lens and every click is another human, me and you. And we're all noticed. We're all appreciated. I love you all. Take care, and just know that you mean the absolute world to me. Be safe out there. Cheers.